Hey everybody, welcome to another episode in the Lens Wizard Photoshop series for beginning photographers and beginning Photoshop users. So in a previous video, I showed you how I licensed this image from Adobe stock. I needed an element to use in an image that I'm putting together. Over here is our model, and she has a toy gun. We needed to put in a real gun, so there it is, but this one has the watermark. After I licensed it, it loses the watermark and we're ready to go. But I have to cut it off of this background. So I'm going to prep it a little bit before we go over, and I'm going to use a plugin of ReMask 5. You can use your method, but this method is going to show how to do it with ReMask 5. So first thing I want to do is hit Control J, make another layer of this gun, and then I'm going to hit brightness contrast layer, and I'm going to really run the contrast way up, and then I'm going to bring the brightness way down. And I'm not concerned about it changing the color of the gun or anything right now. What I am concerned about is I need this gun to be as different from this background as possible, and I think I just did it right there. You can kind of see that looks like a stainless steel gun, so on a white background. Now what I want to do is merge those two, and that's going to be Control E, and then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to open up Topaz ReMask 5. Okay, so it always comes in as green. If you're not familiar with this, this is also a good tutorial on how to use Topaz. So it always comes in green, and over here in your interface, green is what you want to keep, red is what you want to get rid of, and blue is your compute. So it comes in as green, and it always comes in with the blue brush. And I get my brush. Now this is kind of easy here on our straight lines. What I do is I position it about halfway over. It's not super critical at this point, and I just put a dot and then hold the shift key, go down here, and it's going to just make a straight line. And this line I'm actually going to make myself. I'm going to come around here. This is a very easy selection to do, and I'm just going to freehand it down through here. I could do the method that I just showed you, but I'm going to go ahead and freehand it. I'm going to go ahead, make my brush just a little bit smaller. And all we really are trying to do here is cover overlap. We just want to overlap. Now this, what I'm going to do is I am going to put it all blue, and actually we can just go down through here like that. That's good enough. We're going to dress that up in a minute, and we're going to do the same thing here. And I'm just going to freehand make my brush a little bit bigger. And come around. I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible for the video purposes, but I'm also want to do a good job because I actually, even though I'm recording screen capture video, I still want to use this element, but I want to show exactly what it is that I'm doing. So I've pretty much, went all around the perimeter with my blue compute. Now we're going to dress it up just a little bit here, and we're going to go down here and grab the fill, and the fill I want to pop in there, and then I can pop the fill in here, and that gives me red. Remember, red is what we want to get rid of, and green is what we want to keep. So with that said, I'm going to go up here and choose the red brush, and I am going to zoom in really far. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut this whole thing out, but I'm just putting red in here to let the software know that I want to get rid of that color in there. And I'm going to go over to green and take my green brush and just kind of make a line right through there so that it knows I want a line through there. And you don't always have to get this particular, but I'm doing it today. Now let's see, we had a problem up here. We want to put some red in here as well. And just to make it life a little easier, I'm going to come around and dress this up with just a little bit of green. And now just give everything a once over, and I think it looks good. So now we hit compute. Okay, hit compute, and it always comes up with a black and white, which is kind of good, because now what we want to do is we just want to run around the perimeter, and we're going to start on the inside. So this is what we want to keep. And you notice we got a little bit of schmutz, I call it, right here, and just run it. And all you got to do is touch. I'm just touching the brush on. Now see, I went a little too far there. Hit Control Z, back it up. But we're going to run it around the outside too. I don't know if the screen capture can capture this, but I'm going to run around the outside. There is a slight haze in some spots, and I don't know if screen capture is catching that for you to see, but I'm just going to run it around. Now you see this menu that keeps popping up over here off to the side. That's my Wacom tablet. I'm using the tablet to control certain aspects. Now I'm going to click in there. I'm going to click in there. I'm going to click in there, there. But now let me go back. I mean, you can cut this out in Photoshop and you might get a pretty good job, but I find that I get a really nice job, a little better than Photoshop, sometimes a lot better than Photoshop, by using a plugin. And what I have to say when it comes to using these plugins, no one plugin is like a do-all tool, I have found, in my opinion. What I find is it's just another tool to have in the toolbox. You know, if you're a mechanic, you need to take out a 9/16 bolt or a 14mm bolt, and you're going to have a 6-point socket, an 11-point socket, an open end wrench, a closed end wrench. You're going to have many tools to do more or less the same job. Although sometimes you will find that you just need one particular tool to do that one particular job that time. And that's where these plugins come in handy. So Topaz ReMask 5 is the edition we're up to now. I started with 4, I believe. But it is my go-to tool. Okay, so now we've pretty much went through and we've got pretty much everything. We touched on all the schmutzy spots. Let's go up here where it says keep, and we can kind of look at it again. Now remember, this is not the color that we're going to use, but we're just looking at it, and what we're looking for is to see anywhere where the checkered board might be showing through, and we see that we have a little bit here. Now you can put a color, and I usually like to do an abstract color because I want to do something that is just going to let me really see, hey, you know what, it's showing through right in that spot. But I think we're good to go there. So now, with that said, we're going to back out. I like to do a little bit on recovery. I tend to take recovery up to about there, and that helps refine the edge a little bit more. And sometimes mask strength, I'll go up around 25 or 30, and usually around 30 on that, and then hit OK. And then if I want to see how I've done, what I've done, I can come down here. Now what I want to do, before I'm getting a little out of order here, what I want to do is make another copy of the gun in the color that I want it. And that's the color that I want it. Okay, so what I'm then going to do is go up here to turn on my layer, and I'm going to select that layer. I'm going to hit Control and then left click on the thumbnail. And if you notice, it gives me a nice selection around that. And what I'm going to do to cut off any little hairs or areas that might be sticking out, I am going to go down to modify, and I'm going to go to contract, and I want to contract it by 2 pixels. And if you watch the marching ants, it might be kind of hard to see, but I'm going to hit Control Z, back it up. See the marching ants? They're moving in just a little bit. And by moving them in, now go down here to, and you got your marching ants. You selected it on this top layer, but now go down to the one that you really want. Highlight that layer. Marching ants are active. Click a mask. And to see what we did, we are going to turn that off. Highlight the background layer. Control Shift N gives us a new layer. We don't have to name it, but we do want to put a color in it. Let's put something a little abstract, and let's go with, say, a green. Okay, so I've highlighted green, and Alt backspace gives me a green, and it lets me see that I did a pretty good job. And if I want to see what my original selection was, go up here and turn this on. And I don't know if I turn my bottom one off, I can see that my edge has got, you know, some roughness to it. But if I look at the edge on this one, it's nice and clean, nice and smooth. So that's the one that I want to save. I can take these other two, I can delete them, and if I want, I can just go ahead. If I think everything is looking good, after I've double checked everything, I can go ahead and apply this layer mask. Now, if I think that something is not looking that good, I can go in here and select a brush, just a regular brush. Make sure you have, you know, a soft brush, just first one in the default brushes there. And I could go around 100% if I wanted to, or I could back it down. And if I think I might, whoa, wrong color and wrong thing. I want to be on my mask. I want to be on the mask. You just see me make the mistake there that, you know, we've all made it 1,000 times. You have to be on the mask. Hit D to make sure you have your defaults. And if I'm using white. So white is going to bring stuff back. And I just want to make sure I see up here on my, it depends on how critical your selection is. If I'm not doing a real tight close-up on the gun, but I am, and this is how, but I am going to be making it very visual here. I'm trying to talk and work at the same time, and I'm sorry about that. So you can see if I go over too much, I can just hit Control Z, backs me up, and I'm good to go. I think I'm pretty good. See, there's a little spot right there. It was a little bit. But once I have this refined the way I want it, and remember, it's your work. It's all in what you want to do. Now I'm going to turn it to black and go on the outside here a little bit and clean that up. I'm going to go back to the white. Okay, that's it. That's how you make a selection.